Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out and being here today for our session. As Susanna mentioned, my name is Shruti, and I'm going to be taking you through the next 1 hour on our topic on unstoppable you, turning stress into your superpower. Now, the reason that we've chosen this topic is, of course, because stress is something that we all experience. We've all faced stressful situations in our lives. And our goal today is to give all of you all very, very simple but practical strategies that you can start implementing immediately so that the next time that you're facing any stressful situation, you will already know what needs to be done. Right. Let me just quickly brief you on what the format of our presentation will be, and then we will get started. This is an extremely interactive and activity based session that we've planned for all of you, because our goal is to help all of you all understand stress and understand taking care of yourself with a slightly more interactive approach rather than me just talking about it. So I encourage all of you, please use the chat box wholeheartedly, share your thoughts, your ideas, your any questions that you have, please put them down in the chat. And we do have time set aside for Q&A right at the end of the session. However, if you feel like you have a question at any point during the session, please feel free to put it down immediately. We'll try our best to pick it up right away, or we will answer it right at the end of our session. All right, so let's get started with a quick icebreaker question that we have for all of you. So let's move into that. I want all of you to use the chat. Give me one word or one emoji that describes how you are feeling today or how you're feeling right now. Anything at all, either a word or an emoji that describes what you're feeling like right now. Let's get your responses into the chat box, and once we get a few answers in, we'll move into the rest of our session as well. So how do you feel? Okay. Some of you are listening. If you all are smiling, that's good for me. I'm always happy to know that people are smiling and are happy. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, lots of smiles coming our way. So I'm okay. Some of you are maybe not in a great mood. Hopefully, we'll be able to change that by the end of the session as well. But I appreciate the honesty that everybody's responding with as well, right? Thank you so much for all of your responses. Do continue to put them down. We're going to keep seeing them as we go. A lot of you, I can see the curious emojis are also coming in. I'm hoping the curiosity is because you want to know what's going to happen in our session today. So looking forward to that as well. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for all of your responses. So let's move into the first section that we have. The first section that we have, we're going to be talking about stress awareness over here, right? Now, this entire segment that we are going to be talking about has two big activities in it that we will do together, and I'm going to take you all through them one by one. So let's jump into the first activity that we have. The first one that we have is a quiz, right? Now, what are we going to do in this quiz? Very, very simple for us to understand. We're going to put up statements on the screen, and there will be options that you can select for this, right? So there'll be A, B, C, D options for each question. The options are the same for all the questions. Just keep making a note in the chat box of what your response is for each of these, because at the end of the quiz, we're going to give you a scoring and you're going to total up your scores, right? That's all that we're going to do here. Very, very simple for us to do, right? So let's get into the first question that we have. I will read out the questions for you and I'll show you the options. I feel drained out, tired, or like I have low energy. A is not at all, B is sometimes, C is often, or D is all the time, right? Now, even if you're putting down your answers for each question one by one, just make sure you make a note of it, or you can just keep typing it one after the other in the chat box, and then we'll score them all together at the end. Okay. All right. All right. Answers are coming in very, very fast from all of you. The options will be the same for all the questions that we have. These will be the same. Options are not going to change. So you can just remember A, B, C, D. Very, very easy for you to do that. Yes. All right, let's jump into question number 2. The next question that we have is, I find myself getting irritated easily or getting annoyed by small things. So not at all, sometimes, often, all the time. What do you all think? Please remember, this will be completely specific to you as an individual, right? This will be completely dependent on what you feel. There are no right or wrong answers for any of these questions. All right, we've got a lot of answers. Let's move into the next one as well. I feel misunderstood or underappreciated at work. What do you all think? Could see so many responses coming in. Y'all can, like I said, the options remain the same for all the questions. There's no change in that. All right, let's jump into the next question. I feel like I cannot talk to anyone, nor do I have someone who understands me or how I'm feeling. What do you all think? Not at all, sometimes, often, or all the time. What do you think? All right, let's jump into question number 5. Good to see you all responding so quickly. I feel like I am under pressure to perform or to be successful. So you're constantly feeling this pressure to be successful, to perform really well, etc. There's a constant pressure that you uh, are feeling nowadays. All right. Got just a few more questions. Let's move into the next question that we have. I feel like I'm unable to achieve what I would want to achieve either personally or professionally. So, do you feel like you want to get certain things done, but you're struggling to get them done, or you're not able to do the things that you would like to do, right? And like I said earlier, I'm just reinforcing this again. Each of you are likely to have very, very different answers for this, and that's absolutely okay because purely based on how you think or feel about this, nothing else. Cannot be any right or wrong answers for these questions. All right, let's jump ahead. I find that no matter how much sleep I get, I am still tired. I find myself not sleeping well. So, how much ever you sleep, it feels like it's not enough, or you wake up feeling tired no matter how much you manage to sleep. All right. Because we're going to give you all solutions and help you all understand how to work on a lot of these concerns as well as we go. So that's also the reason why we're doing this activity right up front, right? All right, let's move into the last few questions that we have. Let's go ahead. I feel a lack of motivation to do the things that I once enjoyed doing. So if there was something that you really liked to do before, you are suddenly feeling like I don't feel like doing those, that I'm not interested in doing those things anymore. All right. Wonderful to see your answers coming in so fast. It's always good to see that from our participants. Let's jump ahead. I feel overwhelmed by the things that I need to do, and I feel like I'm constantly trying to catch up. So, do you constantly feel like my list of things to be done is never ending and I never manage to finish my list? Yeah, I can see a lot of C's and D's for this one, right? Often and all the times. I can absolutely understand because things are so incredibly hectic for us, right? And all of us, I think, are managing multiple things. So it's very common to feel this way as well. And the last and final question that we have is, I find it difficult to look forward to each new day and what it will bring for me. So you find yourself not really feeling excited about the next day or what's going to happen today. You find that very difficult to do. All right. Let's give you all a few moments to respond to this. And then we will look at the scoring for the quiz that we've done. Perfect. Okay, so the scoring is very simple. If you have answered A, your score will be 0. If you've answered B, it will be 1. C is 2 and D is 3. Right? So A is 0, to B is 1. C is 2 points and D is 3 points. So for example, like Priya has mentioned this, you can just add up your total of A, B, C, D. And then if you're comfortable, you can share your scores. In case you're not comfortable, we will help you understand, or we'll give you the results for this at the end, right? All right, so y'all can quickly tally your scores. I'll give you all a minute or two here, don't worry. And once we get all of your responses in, we'll move into understanding what our scores really mean for us, right? So, as I said earlier, A is 0, B is 1, C is 2, and D is 3. That's the scoring. So it's just 0, 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for putting down your answers. Please do continue to add them up and total it. Like I said, 0, 1, 2, 3 is just the scoring. Let's look at the interpretation of our scores. What do our scores really mean for us, right? So there's a very simple way to look at this. If your score is anywhere between 0 to 10, right, it means that you're somebody who is able to manage their stress levels really well, and you do have strategies in place which help you out. So what that means is the strategies that you're following already are working. So we need to continue to stick to those. And of course, we'll give you some new strategies as well. If your score is between 11 and 20, right, this most likely means that you're possibly, there is a little bit of stress that's going on in your life. However, it hasn't reached a point of burnout yet. So if we start managing the stress levels right now, we will be able to bring this under control. And I can see a majority of you seem to be falling into this category, where, which basically means that we have a lot of scope to help ourselves right away. And if your score is between 21 and 30, it means that possibly your stress levels are a little higher than they ideally should be, and you may be beginning to feel the effects of burnout. So this is the point where genuinely focusing on your well-being and taking care of yourselves is going to become critically important for you, right? Now, the purpose of this quiz, very simply, this is not a diagnostic quiz, or this is not an assessment of any type. This is more of reflective questions to possibly help us understand where we stand as we are feeling today, right? So this is just one little piece of information that you can use to understand where you stand today, and then start taking care of yourselves accordingly, right? All right, thank you so much for all of those responses from all of you. And let's get into the second activity that we have over here. This is a myths and facts activity. Very, very simple. I'm going to put up a statement on the screen. You need to tell me in the chat box, do you think this is a myth or a fact? A myth is a statement that is not true at all, right? Something that's not true. So you will put down the letter M. And if you think this is a fact, which is this is something that's correct or true, you're going to put down the letter F, right? So M or F. And once we get your answers in, I'm going to share the answers for this with you as well. So this is sort of like a rapid fire kind of activity. We quickly start responding, and then we'll share the answers with all of you. Yes? All right, let's jump into the first statement that we have. Stress is always harmful and should be eliminated completely. What do you all think? Myth or fact? All right. You all have taken my rapid fire points really, really well, because I can see answers coming in very quickly. Excellent, excellent. Wonderful. Okay, we've got a good mix of myths and facts. Let's look at the answer of this statement. This is actually a very commonly believed myth. We're going to talk about this just a little bit more in detail when we move ahead, but there is something called good kind of stress as well, which actually helps us stay motivated and helps us get things done. Because if there was absolutely no kind of stress, like zero stress in our lives, most of us would never be able to get anything done, right? You know how it is, right? When I have a deadline, I end up pushing myself and getting something done. Or if I know that I have to submit something on a particular day, I actually work towards it. That's what we call an optimum level of stress, right? So this is a very, very commonly believed myth. Let's jump ahead into the next one. Taking a break to prioritize your well-being does not mean that you are less productive. What do you all think? Myth or fact? So if I take a break to prioritize my well-being, it does not mean that I am less productive. All right, lots of answers have come in, pretty unanimous as well. Let's look at the answer of this particular statement. This is absolutely a fact. If you do not take regular breaks, or if you do not allow yourself to rest, you will, in fact, your productivity will get affected even more badly, and you will find it really, really difficult to actually get things done properly, right? So taking a break is going to make you even more productive as opposed to not taking a break at all. Excellent. Let's move into the third statement that we have. If you're good at handling stress, you should not feel overwhelmed by things. What do you all think? Myth or fact? If I am good at handling stress, I should not feel overwhelmed by things at all. All right, we're getting good mix of answers for this one as well. Let's look at the answer to this statement. This is absolutely a myth. Why? Because I could feel overwhelmed about something, but still know how to handle it. Or I could initially feel overwhelmed or feel like it's very difficult for me to manage and then just figure out a solution for it. Feeling overwhelmed does not mean I don't have the capability to handle stress, right? These two things are not mutually exclusive. It does not matter. Even if you are overwhelmed, you could still be really, really good at handling stress. So there's no correlation between these two in that sense. Let's jump ahead to the next one we have. Stress is only caused by big life events. All right. Let's give everybody a chance to respond and then we'll move ahead. Wonderful. Let's go to the answer of this statement. This is absolutely a myth. Stress is of course caused by big life events, no doubt about it, but stress can be caused by very, very minor day-to-day things as well. Like you're leaving the house, you forget to take your house keys, or there's a lot of traffic when you're getting to work, or you end up dropping something, or you spill your coffee or your tea, right? Small life events can also cause us stress. Stress is not limited to big life events alone, right? All right, let's move ahead. Suppressing or ignoring the signs of stress will only make it accumulate and will lead to burnout. What do you all think? Myth or fact? All right. Let's give you all a few more seconds before we move to the answer of this one. All right, let's jump ahead. I think we've got very unanimous answers. Absolutely correct. This is 100% a fact. The more I ignore the signs of stress, or the more I try to suppress them or pretend as though they don't exist, it is going to accumulate and I will eventually face burnout whether I like it or not, right? Instead, what I need to be doing is recognizing the signs of burnout and stress and then dealing with them or coping with them so that I don't move towards burnout. All right, let's go into the next one that we have. Taking a long break is the only way to recover from stress. All right, this is our last and final statement before we move into the next section that we have. All right, let's jump to the answer of this particular statement. I think most of you answered. This is a very, very commonly believed myth. Now, let me explain this to all of you. Taking a long break is a way to recover from stress as well. We are not saying that it is not. Of course, it is. However, there are many other strategies that we can use to recover from stress. Taking a long break is not the only one that exists. There are many, many more. I can do things for 5-10 minutes every day. I can do things once a week, etc. There are many different ways and we're going to be discussing them as we go ahead as well, right? So this is a myth. It's not the only way. It's one of the many ways for us to handle stress. All right. Thank you so much for that very, very enthusiastic participation from all of you. And now we're going to move into the second section, which is on understanding stress. Now here, we're going to talk about this very, very briefly because I know that all of you are aware of this. So let's jump ahead quickly into this and then we'll figure out how we can manage our stress better, right? So let's look at understanding firstly what causes stress. So let's move into that section. Now, when we talk about stress, there are a couple of different things that we're going to discuss here. First is there's healthy stress, right? Now, healthy stress is something that pushes us to be productive. It motivates us. It helps me get things done, right? So this is usually a stress that acts as sort of an activating agent and it's short term. It stays for a very, very short period of time. Like, for example, let's say you have a big presentation at work, right? So you are a little nervous or you are a little stressed out. The moment the stress is over, you're completely okay again. Or you have a deadline. Or let's say, for example, end of the financial year. So you've got a lot of targets to meet, right? Whatever that may be, right? Short term, activating, helps me stay productive, helps me stay motivated, right? Second type is chronic stress. Chronic stress is a high level of stress that I'm experiencing all the time. The stress never really goes up or down, it just remains constant, right? And this is draining and it's ongoing. So, for example, let's say somebody has a health related issue, or let's say somebody has, say, for example, you have a newborn baby and you're taking care of the baby, or let's say there's a health issue at home, or somebody's lost their job, there's a financial issue, there's a relationship struggle, there are anything like that at all, right? These are chronic examples of stress wherein here the stress level remains pretty high and it doesn't really come down. and this becomes extremely draining for us, right? Now, what causes stress? Very simply put, anything that causes stress is can health stress for a prolonged period lead to chronic stress? Yes, it absolutely can. It could be, for example, let's say I have a health issue that I have, or I've been diagnosed with some sort of health condition, or somebody else at home has a chronic health issue that can absolutely lead to chronic stress as well. Yes, 100% it can. Now, when we look at what a stressor is basically something that causes stress. It basically creates a response in my mind and body, right? Now, there are external stressors. External stressors are things which are happening around me, right? There's a catastrophe, there's a work related issue, there's a life stress that I experience, environmental factors, like, for example, it's extremely hot, or somebody lives in a flooded area, or raining very heavily, anything like that. Those are environmental factors. A lot of different things like this. And then there are internal or intrinsic stressors which are related to me. These include things like my personality factors, my thinking styles. Am I a person who generally is a little anxious or worries a lot? Am I the kind of person who maybe has tends to focus on something negative a little more than focusing on the positive? Or am I a person who generally has gets anxious the moment things are a little out of control? These are internal factors which are things related to me, right? So this is a little bit about understanding what causes stress and what are the different types of stress that we may experience as well, right? Now let's get into understanding how the stress curve really works, right? What happens when I experience stress? This is a very simple theory that is very popularly used to describe or understand stress, which is called the general adaptive syndrome, right? What happens here is, if you look at the starting point here, right? This is where the stress starts up. So this is what we call the alarm phase. This is where the mind and body are like, oh my God, we are experiencing stress. We need to do something about this, right? The second stage is what we call the resistance stage. This is the stage where the body starts managing the stress. So we actively take steps to manage the stress. These could be physical steps or these could be mental steps, either way, right? Now, the longer the resistance stage, the more quickly the exhaustion stage is going to come, right? So after a certain amount of time that I've spent in this yellow phase 2, I move into the exhaustion phase, which is where you can see the little arrows sort of dipping downwards. This is where the exhaustion stage comes in, which is what happens. I've used up all my resources, I've used up all my energy, and now I'm completely drained. This is the sort of curve that we follow. Now, during this exhaustion stage is where I need to recover and I need to take care of myself so that I am prepared for any other stress that may come my way, right? So, this is a little bit about a very simple theory that helps us understand the concept of stress, right? All right, now let's get into the next section that we have, which is on stress mapping. Now, here again, we're going to start up with an activity. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you very simple scenarios over here, and then I'm going to ask you a very, very easy question related to this, and you can give me your answer, right? Okay. So, scenario one is your manager shares an urgent task late in the day and expects it first thing tomorrow morning. Do you feel like this situation is out of your control, partially in my control, or fully in your control? You can just put down red, yellow, green as per what you feel. And please remember, there will be individual differences here. There's no right or wrong answer for any of these. All right, we've got a very good mix of answers coming in. Very, very interesting to see that as well. Wonderful. All right. I'm curious to know, and I want you all to, I'm going to ask you all one more quick follow-up question about this. If you have answered red, yellow, or green, depending on whichever one you answered, why, according to you, why do you feel it falls under either red, yellow, or green? What is your reasoning for feeling that it falls into that? And remember, no right or wrong answers again, just about what you feel. Why do you feel it's red, yellow, or green? And it's interesting to see how different all of your answers are, because I'll tell you why that's a great, if something is missing in the requirement, sure, absolutely. What else? Okay, because they ask only when it's urgent, when they really have to they have to deliver something. Yes, it could be a dependency on someone else as well, absolutely. All right, thank you for all of those responses. Let's look at the second scenario that we have. Last minute tasks are not in our hands. It's like expect the unexpected. That's a good reasoning as well. You know the work and it's a level of severity, so it will be in my control. Absolutely. That's a great response again. Wonderful. Excellent. So let's do one thing. Now for scenario two, let's look at it this way. I want you all to answer the color for me, which category, and I want you to give me the reasoning with it. So you can just write like Y and then give me your reasoning, G and give me your reasoning, or R and give me your reasoning along with it. Okay. So you keep feeling guilty when you log off on time because others seem to be working longer hours. Do you all think this is red, yellow, or green? And I want you to also see if you can give me your reasoning for why you're choosing that particular color as well. Green. Okay, a lot of you all are saying green. Wonderful. Let's also get your reasoning. Complete my task before time. Sure. Absolutely. That could be a reason why it's partially in your control. That works. It's my personal time after working. Yes, not feeling guilty at all. That's good. Because I'm thinking that they are working longer. That's great. That's why it's in my control. That's an excellent point. Yes, I never feel guilty because I give my 100% during working hours, so there's no regret. Wonderful. I always feel it's our right to go off and spend quality personal time. Yes. Even if I don't have to, I may have to wait. It's my wish and my time. Not at all guilty. Did my work on time. Excellent. Great to see the mindset that so many of you have. Yeah, thank you for all of those responses. And we've got one last scenario. Let's move into the next one that we have. Green because I need to have work-life balance. Absolutely spot on as well. Thank you for that response. The last scenario that we have is multiple meetings are scheduled back to back, leaving no breathing space in between them. Red, yellow, or green? And why do you feel it's red, yellow, or green for you? Let's get, or okay, it's not in your control. Absolutely could be possible. That's a very, very valid answer. And like I said, we cannot question what anybody's responses are. It's completely dependent on each of us as individuals, right? Yes, if we plan our day, it could be yellow. It's not in our control. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it's our responsibility, but sometimes it feels hard to do. So it's yellow, sure. Can ask for the time in between. Yes. Sometimes it creates a problem, but we can manage walking or going outside. Yes. Red, if I'm not the one who's organized or planned the meetings. Absolutely. Based on your priority, yes, it could be red or yellow. Sure. Sometimes depends on deliverables. One can reschedule the meetings that aren't important. My plate is full, so I will say no. I can decide to if I want to join some meeting or not. Few minutes break should be given. Absolutely. Being in meetings, it affects work and we need to extend. Absolutely right. Absolutely. And I'm very happy to see the different kinds of reasoning that all of you all are giving as well, right? And the reason we did this activity was really, really simple, right? It's to help all of us understand that even though the three situations I have given you all are identical, they're all the same situations, the way each of you responded to this was so different, right? Your reasoning, the what you felt about this was completely different, and that is the thing about stress, right? There's no one size fits all for this. What may be stressful or very stressful for one person may not be stressful for somebody else, or vice versa. And all of us need to have a little bit of understanding, saying that just because I may be stressed out or not stressed out about something doesn't mean that other people feel the same way, right? Just look at our chat box itself. We've got so many different responses for the same scenarios, which helps us see that individual differences do play such a big role over here as well, right? Absolutely. So thank you for all of those responses. Let's get into the last and final section that we have, which is from stress to strength. How do we make this shift, right? Now, this entire segment is only focused on specific solutions and how we can turn our stress into a strength and how we can start taking care of ourselves better, right? So let's get into this particular section. Now, what does strength really require when it comes to talking about stress or when it comes to handling stress? Let's look at that. So, strength, let's move ahead. Yes. So, strength equals to recovery. Recovery is basically my resilience, which is my ability to bounce back from stress, and a growth mindset, which is how am I going to keep learning and growing from tough situations. And regulation. So So regulation includes time management and mindfulness, right? And we're going to cover all of these as we proceed as well. So strength equals to recovery time as well as regulation. Both these things together are what is going to help me convert my stress into a strength. All right. So we're going to watch a very, very quick video now in the next slide. Just watch the video in its entirety and then we'll come back and discuss.
The 600-meter underway. Heather Dornan in Minnesota finished second this event a year ago. She is in lane 4.
And Dornan is probably going to be your favorite. She actually won the NCAA championships in 2006 in the 800, but she only won one Big Ten championship in the 2 years.
3 laps in this event, 600 meters, 3 times around the 200-meter track here at the field house.
What a bold move by Fawn. She's looking very confident, and the Penn State runner is just running amazing today. She did win her heat in the 400, but ended up taking 4th overall.
That's Fondor moving into the lead, a sophomore from Penn State. Dornan running second.
Dornan last year scored 23 points for the Golden Gophers in their Big Ten championship, so they're really relying on getting a lot of points from her this weekend, and she's just coming by Fondor now in the home stretch, heading into the bell lap. Down.
Dornan falling down, gets up quickly, but that's going to cost her. Lucky she wasn't injured.
Her teammate just went to the front, though, so they may be able to recover from that. And Dornan is flying down the backstretch.
She is catching up.
She is going to catch Fondor, and she may catch the leader.
Wow.
Wow. She's got fun.
This is a gutsy effort by Dornan. Can she pull it off? She's moving to third. Dornan coming down the stretch from the outside. Dornan coming on strong. Dornan all the way. Dornan. Yes, she did it. Wow, unbelievable.
That is amazing. To fall in a 600, I mean, this is basically a sprint. I mean, this is an extended 400, basically. To fall with 200 meters to go and get up and win, that is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
All right. What do you all think, or what is something that you understood or saw in this video very, very quickly? What did you all see, or what do you think they were talking about in this video? What was a common theme that we could see? Never give up. Absolutely. Absolutely right. Courage, yes. Resilience, confidence and calmness of the winner. Never recover fast and bounce back quick. Didn't lose hope. Absolutely. Just starting all over again, right? Absolutely. The mindset as well. Yes, don't lose hope too early. हार के जीतने वाले को बाजीगर कहते हैं. Yes, absolutely. Even if you have 1% chance to win, you don't lose hope. Comeback is always better than a setback. Yes. Keep pushing even if you lag. Strong mindset. Don't think of anyone else. Just focus on yourself. Absolutely. Confidence, of course. Thank you for all of those responses, and you all are absolutely right. So let's move ahead into understanding the concept of resilience over here, right? Because that was the theme that this video was telling us, saying that she fell. She absolutely fell. Everybody was miles ahead of her, and she still managed to catch up, right? And what all of you said is so true. When we focus on our goals, we focus on ourselves, and we don't give up hope, absolutely possible for us to bounce back from any sort of challenge that we face, right? Now, resilience is basically our ability to bounce back from a challenge that we face. And the key to resilience is finding a balance between the challenges or the stress that we face and the resources that are available to us, right? So the moment the resources that I have are more than the stress that I feel, I'm going to be in balance. But if my stress goes way more than the resources that I have, I'm going to feel very, very imbalanced, right? So the thing for all of us to remember is that when I focus on resilience as my mindset, or when I focus on resilience as the key to resolving my stress, the easier it's going to be to bounce back from challenges as well, right? All right, now we're going to get into another quick activity. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to give you like a task list sort of thing of things that are listed out, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions related to that, right? It's very, very simple. This is called too much to do, too little time, which is, I think, the story of so many of our lives nowadays. So this is the first scenario that we have. The tasks that you have are, you have to create presentation slides, you have to review data accuracy, prepare speaking notes, rehearse as a team, respond to client emails, and fix the design and formatting of your work, right? Now, all of this needs to be done, and you have a really, really tight deadline for this. How would you be able to manage all of this? Or what could you do to actually get these things done? What would be a way to manage your time really well in this situation? How would you do this? And remember, there's a lot of creative freedom that I'm giving you here because this is just a very small scenario that we are giving you. So you absolutely can take liberty here in terms of how to get things done. What can you do over here? All right, let's see all your responses. Work breakdown will complete priority tasks first. Use AI assigned to subordinates, and I would be focusing on accuracy and review. Absolutely. Divide into priorities. Do the top priority ones first. Yes. Prioritize the task and pick the most important one. Absolutely right. First thing is to prioritize tasks. Yes. Second is delegate. So timelines, if timelines are too tight, communicate and get going. Wonderful. I like the way you've broken that down as well. So prioritize, delegate, communicate, and then start off the work so that we can finish everything on time. Wonderful. Excellent. Let's move into the second one. The second scenario, and I'm going to come back to why we are discussing this once we're done with this, is the tasks are completing a work deadline. You have to plan a family event. There are bills that need to be paid. You have to respond to messages, taking care of your health, and helping a friend who's setting up a house. All this. So, this is mental load overwhelm, is the scenario. How do you prioritize or how do you get all of these things done? What can you do here? Help my friend first, it'll calm my mind. Sure, that's a good approach for taking to take for this situation. Absolutely. What else? How else could you manage this situation? Because this has different things happening. I would rather take care of my health, which might be helping you handle the other things. That's an interesting perspective as well. And I do agree, right? If your health is not supporting you, nothing else would be possible for you to do, right? Taking care of your health first, absolutely. Self help, paying bills, work deadline, family event, health friend. Sure, that could be a sequence that you could follow. Taking care of your health, absolutely. Paying bills will fix taking care of health as well, sure. Checklist and then complete the tasks accordingly. Absolutely. Absolutely. Given that so many of you have said, right, that taking care of your health ideally should be the priority here, how many of you feel that you're really able to do that for yourselves? How many, yes, in reality, we mostly neglect our health. Yes, absolutely in line with my question. How many of you feel like you are able to take care of your health or you are able to find the time to prioritize your health as well? Good to see so many of you. Yeah, I do understand that it does get neglected. I do understand that. I completely get that as well. So 50% sure. Yes, sometimes if we do neglect it, but if something serious happens, then nothing else matters, right? Absolutely. And this, sort of brings me back to the point we were discussing in the myths and facts as well, which is that, when we don't take regular breaks or we don't take care of ourselves, right? What tends to happen then is that there's no scope for me to do anything else. It's almost impossible for me to focus on anything else, right? So the idea behind this activity as well was to help us understand how managing our time and prioritizing things becomes so incredibly critical for us, right? And priorities will be different for different people, absolutely. However, if I do not take care of myself or if I am not on that priority list, nothing else is going to matter because if I am unwell, how am I going to do anything else at work or at home? It's impossible, right? Yes, investing in yourself has to be our topmost priority. I do agree. So the idea of this activity is to help us understand that prioritizing my well-being has to be on my list of my on my to-do list as well, right? All right, let's move into the last few slides that we have before we wind up for today. The next thing we have is a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset, right? Now, a fixed mindset is one where I believe that I cannot change anything. I'm not in control of what is happening to me, or I just feel like I'm so afraid of trying things that I tend to underperform as well, right? So and I constantly have self-doubt. I'm like, no, I can't do this. This is very difficult for me to do. This challenge is too overwhelming. I'm too stressed out. This is too much for me to manage, right? Now, in case you feel that you may have been stuck in a fixed mindset at some point in time, we have to consciously move from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? Basically, we seek feedback. We focus on improving our skills because we know that we have that my skills are in my control, right? Secondly, we always look at any sort of problem or challenge as a learning opportunity. So I look at it from the point of view saying that this is an opportunity for me to learn, for me to grow. Next time something like this happens, I'll already know what to do, right? And we also recognize that a problem is essential for me to grow as an individual. That if I face no problems, I face no obstacles, everything is smooth sailing, I'm never going to grow as well, right? And we always use feedback in a constructive form. So even if somebody gives me constructive feedback or I get criticized for something, I take that in a positive way, saying that what can this help me develop about myself, right? So if you feel that you may be getting stuck in a fixed mindset, as someone's mentioned, yes, overthinking absolutely plays a role in a fixed mindset as well. We need to consciously move towards developing a growth mindset by focusing on learning and by focusing on recognizing that my ability and my skills are 100% in my control. So I need to focus on it from that point, right? All right, let's move into the next subheading that we have, which is time management. Now, in time management, one of the things that we do here is something that we call the daily three. Now, this is a strategy that we've tried with a lot of individuals, and it's very, very simple but extremely effective, which is at the starting of your day, identify one thing that you absolutely must do, non-negotiable thing, right? Secondly, is one progress task. So something where if I take one step today, I'm sort of moving ahead or moving closer to the goal that I have or moving towards my end result. And lastly, one task which is sort of light, which is an easy win. I can quickly get this done. And it's like, okay, one more thing is off my to-do list, right? Now, your progress task and your light task can change every single day. It could be absolutely anything depending on the day, depending on the situation. I want all of you all to take a moment here and think about one thing that you believe is a non-negotiable, something that you believe I should take out the time no matter what to do this for myself. I want all of you all to think of one such thing and share it with me in the chat, and then we'll get into the last couple of slides and we'll open up the floor for questions as well. What is one thing that you believe is a non-negotiable for you? It could be in any area of your life. There's no specific area that we're looking at. Okay, stepping into the gym and having good food. Great. Upskilling, another very good one to have as a non-negotiable. What else do you all think could be a non-negotiable for you? Developing your personality, absolutely. Exercise, wonderful. EMI, sure. Your passion or your hobbies, wonderful. What else? I want all of you all to think of something like this. Pray and take care of plants, enhance career skills, pursue your passion, food, trekking and stargazing. Wonderful. Wonderful. Spending time with my family to at least ask how their day was. Yes. Spiritual connect, coffee. Yes. Absolutely. Cleaning your gaming setup. Sure. Absolutely. That would work. I think that could turn out to be a really relaxing activity as well, right? If it's something that you truly enjoy playing with kids. Yes. Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you. Do continue to put down your answers. We're going to keep going through them. Sending kids to school. Wonderful again. Walking. Excellent. Excellent. Do continue to share your answers. We're going to keep seeing them as we move into the sort of last and final activity that we have for all of you, which is on guided mindfulness, right? Now, the reason why we're talking about this is very, very simple as we move into the next section, which is that mindfulness and meditation is something that ideally we all should try to engage in every single day. Now, I know that it doesn't have a great reputation because people feel like I have to spend so much time on it. I need to, sit in one place, be calm, be composed, focus on my breathing, etc., right? Which can be difficult for a lot of us. So I'm going to give you like a small sort of demonstration of what this can look like. Very, very simple. You just have to follow along with my instructions here, right? So I want all of you to just be seated wherever you are. Seat yourselves comfortably and then close your eyes. And once you close your eyes, I just want you to listen to my instructions, right? So all you're going to do is close your eyes, sit comfortably. And as I start counting, you're going to breathe in. Then you're going to breathe, hold your breath. Yes, yes, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine if you've just eaten. It's just a 1 or 2 minute activity, so you won't have any problem with this at all, right? So you're going to inhale with my count. So we inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold our breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're going to repeat this a few more times. So we breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold our breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're going to just allow ourselves to be here for a few seconds. Just notice how your mind is feeling, how your body is feeling. Nothing at all. Just allow yourself to stay in this moment for a few more seconds. And once you're ready, I want all of you to very, very gently and very, very slowly open your eyes and come back to the session that we are in. All right, someone of you said that's relaxing. I'm glad. Now, this activity, I agree, it was a very quick form of meditation that we've done. It could be as simple as this if you would like to incorporate meditation into your day-to-day life. I understand that you may not have a long amount of time to take out. Even if you can do 1 or 2 minutes by the clock, like actually time yourself for 1 or 2 minutes, you will start feeling the benefits of meditation the same way you would if you spent a longer time doing it as well, right? So even if you can spend 1 or 2 minutes, that's perfect. If you can get 5 minutes, nothing like it, right? But try this out. If you're into yoga or anything like that, any form of deep breathing exercises would work effectively over here, right? So that was our calm and release activity. And the last thing that we have is a quick stress toolkit to help you all understand different strategies that you can take. So first one is mindfulness and meditation, like we just did. Cognitive reframing, which is whenever you have a negative thought, you ask yourself, how do I know that what I'm thinking is true? Where is the proof of what I'm thinking? And I replace it with a more positive thought, right? That's cognitive reframing. Mindful breathing, just like we did today as well, right now, just taking deep breaths in and out. Grounding exercises, so allowing yourself to be in the present moment. A simple grounding exercises, naming 3 things you can see, 3 things that you can reach out and touch, and moving any 3 parts of the body, right? It's a very simple grounding technique, but it's really, really effective. And we have growth mindset, of course, as we were discussing. Focus on learning, growing, upskilling. Focus on approaching things with curiosity. And lastly, we have self-care, which is engaging in any one activity that makes you feel relaxed, makes you feel happy. You're not focused on productivity, you're just focused on feeling good about things, right? So with that, that's great. Ankita said he does meditation every single day from Monday to Friday. That's great. Let's move into the question and answer segment now. So if you have any questions at all about anything we've discussed today, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And once we're done with the Q&A, we'll wind up our session for today. We will also be releasing a quick feedback form for all of you. So if you could please fill that up before you leave. So we're going to, can we go back to the Q&A slide, please? Yeah. So the feedback poll has been released. It's just 4 very short questions. It won't take you more than a minute to answer that. And if there are any questions about anything we've discussed today, you can absolutely let me know. I'll be happy to answer your questions, and then we'll wind up for the day. You've realized that when you are meditating, your eyes keep moving, and that gives you a headache. One thing that you can do in this case is you can either keep like an image of something, or you can focus on a certain specific point and focus like that. That could be one thing that you could do. or even in your, if you're closing your eyes and you're meditating and that's causing a little bit of an issue, in your mind as well, when your eyes are closed, you can sort of picture a particular point or something like that and focus on that, which may reduce the movement a little bit, right? So that may help over here. If you're really, really struggling with that, another thing that you can do is also listen to something side by side, so that your mind is sort of focused on that, and that may also help with this, right? So that could be a couple of different solutions that you could look at for this. Um, the stress regulation formula, yeah, sure. Let me just, I can actually just type it out for you in the chat box so that you can have a look at it. Just give me a moment. I'll just type it out and send it. Okay, let me just look at the other questions that are there side by side. Just a moment. If I'm walking in a certain rhythm, shall it be considered as meditation? You could consider it walking. So if you walk mindfully, as in you're paying attention to the sights, the sounds, your feet hitting the ground, all of that, and if you're doing that, you could absolutely consider that meditation as well. Walking mindfully is something that we do recommend to people. So if you are, if that's something that you're already doing, you absolutely could use that as a form of meditation as well. Absolutely. Can good stress impact your physical or mental health? See, it rarely has a very bad impact on your mental health. Honestly, it does not have a very bad impact on it. Why? Because what it does is it motivates me, it pushes me, it drives me to get things done, right? However, if the good stress goes unchecked, as in, or I am finding it very difficult to cope with that good type of stress as well, that could also affect my health. Like, let me give you an example. If you've had a baby recently, right? Yeah, I'm just putting the formula. So if you have a baby recently, it's a great, very happy thing. Everyone's very thrilled about it, but it's very physically and mentally tiring as well, right? There's no question about that. Anyone here who's had a newborn knows that. So in this case, it can affect your physical and mental health as well, though it is a good kind of stress. Or let's say been given a promotion, excellent news, very happy thing, but it could still be considered stressful. So that's absolutely, that combination is possible as well. So in some cases that could happen as well. Okay, so if we do workout, people say that cortisol is high, so which is a good time to meditate. See, it depends on from individual to individual. What tends to happen is after you work out, the amount of endorphins or like the good happy hormones are a little higher. So you sort of feel very energetic and things like that. In that moment, for some individuals, it can be difficult to meditate. Ideally, if you can meditate the moment you wake up or just before you're going to sleep, that would be an absolutely wonderful time for you to do this, because you will sort of set the tone for your day, or you sort of wind up your day in a really, really calming way. So ideally, the moment you wake up or just before you go to sleep would be excellent. Or if you have any point during the day which you feel is sort of calm and peaceful and relaxing, you can absolutely meditate then as well, right? But in an ideal world, just as soon as you wake up or just before you go to sleep would be really, really beneficial for you. Meditation. Okay, I can see a couple more questions. Just a moment. Meditating for some days brings back the anxiety, restlessness, which upsets me. So then I stop the practice. See, if by meditating you're feeling anxious or it's making you restless, maybe the type of meditation that you're doing can be modified or altered slightly. Because for some individuals, what happens is if my mind is not actively engaged in something, it could bring back a little bit of anxiety or it could make me feel a little restless, right? One thing you can try is listening to something very relaxing, or we have what is called guided meditation. I'll just type that out in the chat as well. So guided meditation is where they give you instructions on what needs to be done, so you're not doing it by yourself, you're just listening and following along. That could help you with this. And if you're generally feeling anxiety or you're feeling anxious, sorry, you're feeling restless, another thing that could help you is journaling or writing down your thoughts and feelings to understand where is this stemming from, and then do I need to do something to fix it as well, right? Okay, there's another interesting question saying, how do we manage our stress at the workplace when our work may be repetitive and not aligned with something that's like related to us directly, right? I know you feel you're lagging behind others. See, the important thing for us to understand is that where are we feeling this gap is coming, or why are we feeling that I'm not getting the kind of, or doing the kind of work that I would like to do, right? Now, the thing that we have to focus on over here is what aspect of this is in my control, right? Because let's say a task has been assigned to me, or this is what the requirement is, that may not be 100% in my control, but my skill set, my ability to get things done, the way I'm managing all of this is in my control, right? So one thing that can be done here is to understand what is in my control and start working towards it. Secondly, I would say that if you're feeling that this is very overwhelming and stressful, please do talk to somebody about it. It could be someone in your team or a manager or whoever, or you could also talk to a counselor or a therapist to understand how, what is causing the stress, one, and then they'll be able to give you very specific solutions for it as well, right? So then that way what happens is you can start building your self confidence and you can start focusing on your own individual growth as well. Okay, I'm going to take one last question because these people have, they dropped in their questions a few minutes ago itself, and then we'll close for today. How do we control overthinking? One major thing is start journaling your thoughts. Start writing down your thoughts on paper, understanding where is this overthinking stemming from. Very, very often overthinking comes because I feel like something is not in my control, or I feel like I'm having a lot of negative thoughts about things. So start journaling because it helps me sort through my thoughts and make sense of it. That's one. Second thing is focus on what is in my control and what is not in my control. So ensure that you're focusing on the things that are in your control. Overthinking often stems from me putting my attention on things that are not in my control, right? So focus on that as well. And thirdly, if you feel like, okay, this is really, really, not at all working for me, I would also recommend speaking to somebody who's a professional, because they will be able to help you figure out the root cause of this overthinking and give you very, very specific solutions as well, right? And the last question is meditation good? Which meditation is good for eyesight? Specifically, it's a little difficult to say that way because, again, there are a lot of individual factors. But there's something called a candle meditation, or candle light meditation is the name for this, where you stare at the flame of a candle. That can sort of help with your eyesight. So you can try that out and see. That would be helpful over here. And with that, I'm going to come to an end of our session because I know we've overshot our time as well. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here, taking part in our session so actively and enthusiastically. It was really, really nice interacting with all of you and hearing from each and every one of you. So thank you so much once again. I hope we've given all of you all a little bit of an understanding of how you can take care of yourselves better, and you all will continue to make this a priority. So thank you so much once again, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I have pasted the group link of meditation session. Daily we do have Monday to Friday meditation session from evening to morning as well. So morning we do have session from 6:30 to 7 a.m. and evening we do have session from 9 to 9:30 p.m. So you can join the group and you can see all those instructions in the group as well. Fijana, we can take care.
Sure. So thank you so much, Shruti. Thank you so much, Ankit, for the wonderful session ahead. So I guess it was really, really insightful how and a lot of we got to know a lot about stress management and certain things which we weren't aware of. And I'm sure today walking away would be on a very healthy perspective on stress and better self-awareness and meditation and a lot more. So there's one thing which I would like to add is we just don't need to forget that rest is productive and asking for support is healthy. And taking care of mental well-being is not luxury anymore, it's necessary. And so let's work together to for this healthier living. And thank you so much, everyone, once again for participating in the engaging session throughout.